Welcome to Nimble Minds Talks of Self and Spirituality, where we talk about different philosophical perspectives as well as spiritual practices. And in this video, the topic is going to be New Year's resolution, mainly because it is now 2026. Anytime on paper, wherever you write down the date, you're going to be put in 2026. So that is going to be the topic of this video. So why New Year's resolutions? Well, there was a time, even for me, where, the New Year's coming up. It's like a celebration, an event, and rightfully so. Okay, right. It's supposed to be New Year. The Earth is still here. We still have life. We still have nature around us, and not only that, people and loved ones and people you care about around. So, with that being said, when it comes to a new year, right, and you think of new things, you think of new beginnings, you think of maybe in nature, flowers blossoming, trees growing, things like that. And then in relation to people, that's when you get the people growing, people blossoming. But there is a but there. For me, in my experience, previously, past New Year's, there would be times where I would say, hey, this year I want to do this, and I want to have this resolution, because that's what it's sold as. That's what it's marketed as, is that every year is a new year. And sure, every year is a new year, okay. But it's every year's a new year, so get your New Year's resolutions ready. Well, I always struggle to maintain those resolutions. And I found something that's more consistent than that, okay? And there's people that have experience out there that would agree, because I'm not the only one. I'm not, some special picked flower or something. So I've struggled with resolutions, but being consistent is when I have set a goal that's like, you know what? I want to stay disciplined in resisting temptations, okay? And through that, it has actually allowed me to follow my other goals quite easily, because it has built that discipline, okay? Because denying the temptations is a hard thing to do, okay? There's people who hear it, and there's people who still, hey, they're gonna do that, but that's okay. So that's the thing that has helped me, because there's been years where I'm like, okay, this year I want to be better at, making more money. That's been a goal before, right? When I was worried about that. There's been a year where I was like, this year I want to have a girl. I want to have a woman, okay? But hey, those things did not work out for me. And I do know that things happen for a reason, okay? But it's up to the person that the things happens to see whether or not what the reason was, okay? It's up to the person to see what the reason that it happened for was. Some people, things aren't going to work out for them, and they're just going to sit back and complain. They're just going to sit back and be like, why? I've been there, I've done it. There's years I'm like, I want a woman, didn't get a woman. Sit back, it happened, why? I want to make more money, didn't make more money. Sit back, ask, why? And those things didn't happen to me just because, oh my gosh, you don't have the ability, you're not capable. Oh no, I'm plenty capable. But some things aren't for everyone. So those things didn't happen to me, and I didn't, get into that mentality of starting to blame other people, starting to blame the world, starting to give in to temptations, and starting to release outwardly towards people, starting to emote, as you will, okay? Emote now, be loud, and, trying to be noticed. I didn't start doing that because things didn't go my way. Instead of, doing that, I was like, you know what? It didn't go my way. Does it suck? Yes. Does it hurt? Yes. But at the end of the day, you have to keep going. And because I believe and know things happen for a reason, I didn't sit back and start trying to, create issues that would have just created more issues for myself ultimately, because that's what's going to happen. Instead, I was like, this happened for a reason. Maybe there's something else that I should be focused on. Maybe there's something else that actually needs my attention. And eventually, I came upon resisting the temptations, okay? That's one of the goals. And in doing that, okay, not drinking, not smoking, okay, not giving into those tempting desires to want to lie still, things like that. Be deceitful, okay, just things like that. It's gonna be the same thing when I talk about the temptations, pretty much. So, to give into those things, and then and sleep around, that goes with the lust, okay, with the just so many women, cause for me, right, although that may have been a goal at one point, it didn't happen. So I could have tried to, keep forcing it, but sometimes when things don't work out, especially when it comes to relationships, the last thing you want to do is force something. The last thing you want to do is, if you're in a relationship with a woman, keep calling her, and that's the last thing you want to do. You call, get a feel for it. If she's not interested, it is what it is. You live to fight another day, move on. So that's what I did. And eventually I came to the temptations. And that's how I was able to better achieve goals that I set out for myself, especially the ones that were difficult, okay? And those were those tempting thoughts, especially lust, okay? Now, the biggest thing is consistency. That's the biggest thing. Because one thing I would urge people to think about is that when it comes to New Year's resolutions, some people may look at it as, new year, new me, and that's not necessarily the truth. Okay, there's plenty of people who say new year, new me, and then 2 months later, they're back doing the same thing. 3 months later, they're back doing the same thing. 4 months later, they're back doing the same. 5 months later, they're back doing the same. 6 months later, they're back doing the same thing. 7 months later, they're back doing the same thing. Okay? Given, that thing that they're doing is not constructive to, their physical, mental, and general well-being, right? Then that's when it's like, okay, that's when you need to make a change. Okay? So that's the biggest thing, is consistency. So if I had to have any New Year's resolution, it would just be to continue being consistent, because I was already doing that before this New Year. So for me personally, it would just be to keep on doing the same things I've been doing. Okay? That have been good for my physical, mental, and general well-being. It would be to keep doing the same things. Okay? So when it comes to a new year, a lot of times people don't just use it for personal goals. Sometimes people use it to reflect. Okay? Sometimes people use it to think about loved ones they've lost. Okay? Because that happens. Because in time, people pass away, people die. That is a part of life. That's a part of Earth. And how I made that reference to plants, nature. The same thing happens in nature. Okay? A tree grows, little flowers grow in season, and then they wither away. But soon, they either grow again or grow somewhere else. Okay? So when it comes to this, and people reflecting on loss, okay, and things like that, you can compare it to a funeral. Because when people lose people, that's the literal sense of the event that occurs. You go to a funeral, usually some type of gathering, to commemorate the person and to just pay your respects. Just at least show up for the person. Like, hey, you know, hey, you know. So people will look at it like that, as a type of funeral. But I urge you to think of it in a different way as well. Not so literal. Think of it as a funeral for your old ways. If you're going to have a New Year's resolution, have a funeral for your old ways. Okay, I'll add that onto mine. Stay consistent. Stay consistent in the fact that you're holding this funeral for your old ways. You're holding this funeral for these old habits. Okay? You're holding this funeral so you can be better. Okay? So I would urge you to think about it like that. Because that's going to be one of the ways that I approach it. A funeral for my old ways, which is what? Giving into temptation constantly. Okay? Not having the temptations in check. Okay? And sometimes you have to have some things out of balance to realize that, oh, wait, there is a balance. Okay? Not every scenario, but there's some cases where, oh, okay, this is out of balance. Okay, I didn't notice that, but now that I know there's a balance, let's fix this. But that's where it can get tricky, because some people get drawn away into the drinking. Some people get drawn away into the smoking. Some people get drawn away into whatever substances they're on. Some people get captured by these substances. Okay? And once people do, usually it's not just a solo experience. It's not just, it was just them, you know. Usually on multiple occasions, constantly, consistently, it's probably a party upwards of, I don't know if how you would define a party literally, but I would just say upwards of 10 plus people, at least 10 plus people. You know what? No, 20 plus people. And everyone's partaking. That's me being generous. It's probably way more than that. Everyone's partaking, okay? So then they get into the routine, they get into that habit, and it becomes hard to break that habit. It becomes hard to change that habit because of how not just powerful, right, the substance or whatever the temptation is, right? Because it don't just have to be substances. It could be other things. Because if there's going to be some substances present in big groups like parties, then you best believe there's a 99% chance that the other temptations are just waiting pretty much, right? Because people will gather, go to a big party, everyone's hype, everyone's having a good time, and then gossip starts. And the thing is, gossip doesn't even have to result in anyone fighting. It doesn't have to result in anything like that, even though it usually does. It doesn't have to result in that. But it usually will result in people what? Having tension now. Okay? People what? Being angry at something that what? They probably have no reason to really be giving so much of that type of energy to. Okay? So, it is 2026. It is a new year. My goals is to stay consistent. Keep them temptations in check. Understand that the temptations are there. The temptations are there for me. It's not like the temptations don't exist. I could act like the temptations don't exist, but they're there. That's why this is even a goal. That's why this is even a thing. Okay? The lust is there. Okay? The gluttony is there. Okay? Wanting to give into uh, lying and deceit is there. Okay? All that stuff is there. There's just a choice to not do it. Okay? So, whoever's watching, whoever is listening, have a great new year. Okay? Whether that's remembering loved ones who have gone. And not only just the ones who have gone, appreciating the ones who are still here. Because I'll tell you what, I still appreciate the loved ones I have that are still here. Parents, okay? Siblings, I still appreciate them that are here. Okay? But don't only let it just be that. Appreciate some of the technology, although it has its cons, of course. There are some good things, ease of access. Now you can reach some of these loved ones, okay, and speak to them. Also, think about your New Year resolutions, okay? I want whoever's watching, whoever's listening to not only have a happy New Year, to not only have a great New Year, to not only cherish the ones who have gone, the ones who are still here, and the ones who are yet to come, okay? But also your goals. Whoever's watching, whoever's listening, do the right thing for yourself, which is to be consistent. Because that's me at the end of the day. That's my goal at the end of the day. I'm doing it. I'm on the, and I don't even like to talk like this, but acknowledging potential areas of obstacles has helped me to not give in to the temptations. Could I give into a temptation? Okay. Could it be a day where I'm not even I'm not even gonna give myself that leeway, where maybe what? Let me have a little drink. Oh, I'm stressing. Let me have a little drink. Let me stop by the gas station, grab some cigarettes. Okay, let me go to a dispensary or something. They're there, but no. So whoever's watching, whoever's listening, be consistent. Do it for you. Okay? Do it for you. So with that being said, that is the video. Hope you can take something from this video and apply it to your life in some way that adds a positive impact, a lasting impact. With that being said, that's the video. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.